There is a lie you have been told your entire life. You were told that being nice makes you good. You were told that avoiding conflict makes you noble. But there is a problem. If you're only nice because you are incapable of being dangerous, you are not a good person. You are just harmless. And there is nothing virtuous about being harmless. True confidence, what I call dangerous confidence, does not come from weakness. It comes from having the absolute capacity for aggression, for destruction, and for chaos, and having it under voluntary control. This is the difference between the nice guy who finishes last and the peaceful man who everyone respects. Today, we are going to kill the nice guy inside of you. We are going to integrate your shadow, and I'm going to show you the 10 steps to becoming dangerously confident. 1. The definition: harmless versus peaceful. Let's begin by dismantling the biggest misconception about confidence and goodness. Most people operate under a false definition of what it means to be a good person. We are taught from a very young age, by our parents, by our schools, and by society, that being agreeable, quiet, and compliant is the ultimate virtue. We are taught to be nice. But I want you to look at your life honestly right now. When you are being nice, are you doing it because you genuinely want to be kind? Or are you doing it because you are afraid of what will happen if you aren't? This is the critical distinction that we need to make today. There is a massive difference between being peaceful and being harmless. Think about a rabbit. A rabbit is harmless. It cannot hurt you. It doesn't have claws. It doesn't have fangs. It doesn't have the strength to fight back. If a rabbit gets into a confrontation with a predator, it has only one option: to run or to freeze. Now, because the rabbit never hurts anyone, does that make the rabbit virtuous? Does that make the rabbit a good, moral creature? No, the rabbit is not good. The rabbit is simply weak. It has no choice in the matter. Its peace is not a decision. It is a necessity of its survival. Now, compare that to a warrior or a master of martial arts, or, to use the classic metaphor, a lion. A lion has the absolute capacity to destroy. It has the power, the weight, and the weapons to cause absolute chaos. But if that lion chooses to sit calmly and let a smaller animal pass by without attacking, that is not weakness. That is peace. Peace is not the absence of power. Peace is power that is kept under voluntary control. This concept is something that Dr. Jordan Peterson has discussed extensively, and it is the foundation of dangerous confidence. He famously said, "A harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control." Why is this so important for your confidence? Because human beings are evolved creatures. We have a primal instinct that helps us read other people. When you walk into a room, people can subconsciously smell your fear. If you're harmless, if you're the nice guy who agrees with everyone because you're terrified of conflict, people do not respect you. They might like you, they might think you're sweet, but they will never look at you and see a leader. They will never look at you and feel that magnetic pull of respect. They know that your kindness is fragile. They know that you are only smiling because you are forced to smile by your own insecurity. Furthermore, there is a dark side to being harmless. If you are incapable of standing up for yourself, if you are incapable of saying no or fighting back when necessary, you will not stay nice forever. You will become bitter. You will become resentful. Think about the nice guy at the office. He lets people walk all over him. He does extra work that he wasn't paid for. He smiles when his boss disrespects him. He thinks he is being a martyr. He thinks, "I am such a good person for tolerating this." But deep down, he hates it. he starts to hate his boss, he hates his job, and eventually he hates himself. That resentment grows like a cancer, and one day that harmless man snaps. He explodes in a way that is toxic and uncontrolled. This is why the harmless man is actually the most dangerous person in the room, but in the wrong way. He is dangerous because he is deceitful and unstable. True, dangerous confidence comes from the opposite direction. It comes from competence. It comes from knowing, deep in your soul, that if things went wrong, if a conflict started, if you had to defend yourself or your family, you could. Imagine you are a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You walk into a bar and someone starts shouting insults at you. You don't feel your heart racing. You don't feel the need to shout back to prove you are a man. You don't feel the need to fight. You are calm. Why? Because you know exactly what you are capable of. You know that you could end the situation in seconds if you wanted to. Because you carry that sword with you, you don't need to wave it around. You can keep it sheathed. That is the definition of dangerous confidence. It is a paradox. The more dangerous you become, the more peaceful you become. The more capable you are of aggression, the less you need to use it. So, the first step in this journey is a mindset shift. You must stop looking at your inability to hurt others as a badge of honor. You must stop telling yourself that your social anxiety is actually politeness. It is not. It is fear. You need to integrate the idea that it is okay to be strong, it is okay to be formidable, it is okay to have teeth. When you look in the mirror, you shouldn't see a victim. You should see a force of nature that has chosen to be kind. When you walk into a meeting or a date or a social gathering, I want you to carry this thought. I am peaceful not because I have to be, but because I choose to be. This subtle shift in your internal monologue changes your posture. It changes your eye contact. It changes the tone of your voice. It removes the desperate need for approval. A harmless person begs for safety. A dangerous person creates security. If you want to be dangerously confident, you must first accept that you have the potential to be dangerous. You must stop repressing your drive, your aggression, and your power. You need to find your sword, pick it up, learn how to use it, and then, and only then, put it back in its sheath. That is where the confidence lives. It lives in the metal of the sword you carry, not in the empty hands of a coward. 2. Integrate your shadow. Now that we have established that being harmless is not a virtue, we have to look inward. We have to look at the parts of yourself that you have been hiding. In psychology, specifically in the work of Carl Jung, this is called the shadow. Most people live their lives wearing a mask. We call this the persona. The persona is the version of you that is polite, that smiles at the right times, that follows the rules, and that desperately wants to be liked by society. But behind that mask, there is the shadow. The shadow consists of all the traits you were told were bad. It is your aggression, your selfishness, your sexuality, your desire for power, and your capacity for cruelty. Growing up, you were likely punished for showing these traits. If you were too loud, you were told to be quiet. If you were too aggressive on the playground, you were told to play nice. If you were selfish, you were told to share. So, what did you do? You didn't get rid of those traits. You can't get rid of human nature. You simply shoved them into the basement of your mind and locked the door. You pretended they didn't exist. Here is the problem. When you lock away your dark side, you also lock away your power. Think about it. Where does the energy to succeed come from? Where does the drive to crush a competitor in business come from? Where does the passion to pursue a romantic partner come from? It doesn't come from the polite persona. It comes from the shadow. It comes from that primal, animalistic part of you that wants to win, that wants to conquer, and that wants to possess. If you completely repress your shadow to be a nice person, you become flat, you become boring, you lose your edge. You become like a sterilized instrument, safe but lifeless. To become dangerously confident, you must open that basement door. You must stop running from your darker impulses and instead invite them to the table. This is what we call integration. Integration does not mean acting on every dark impulse. It doesn't mean you go out and hurt people just because you feel like it. That is what a criminal does. That is a lack of control. Integration means you acknowledge these feelings, you accept them as part of you, and then you channel that energy into something productive. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine someone disrespects you in a social setting. The nice guy, who has repressed his shadow, feels fear. He thinks, "I shouldn't say anything, it might make things awkward." He smiles nervously and takes the insult. The uncontrolled man, who is possessed by his shadow, flies into a rage, starts a fight, and gets arrested. But the integrated man, the dangerously confident man, feels the flash of aggression. He recognizes it. He feels the monster inside him wake up, but he doesn't let the monster drive the car. He uses that surge of adrenaline to sharpen his focus. He looks the person in the eye, and with total calmness, he delivers a witty comeback or sets a firm boundary. He uses the energy of the shadow without the destructiveness of it. When you integrate your shadow, you stop being afraid of other people. This is a massive shift in confidence. The reason you are often intimidated by aggressive or powerful people is that you are projecting your own repressed shadow onto them. You look at them and think, "Wow, they are so dangerous," because you have forgotten that you are dangerous too. When you know that you are capable of being selfish, you are no longer shocked when others are selfish. When you know you are capable of aggression, you don't crumble when someone yells at you. You think, "I know this energy. I have it too." You need to stop trying to be a perfect moral angel. Human beings are not angels. We are capable of great good and great evil. The man who thinks he is incapable of evil is usually the one who does the most damage because he's blind to his own nature. The man who knows he's capable of evil and watches it carefully is the one who can be trusted. This week, I want you to catch yourself. When you feel a surge of anger, or a desire to be selfish, or a flash of arrogance, don't shame yourself. Don't say, "I'm a bad person for feeling this." Say, "I am a human being with teeth." Accept the feeling, own it, and then ask yourself, how can I use this energy constructively? Maybe you use that aggression to hit a personal record in the gym. Maybe you use that selfishness to finally prioritize your own mental health over someone else's demands. Maybe you use that desire for dominance to close a sales deal. Your shadow is the fuel. Your mind is the engine. If you cut off the fuel, the car doesn't move. If you pour the fuel everywhere, the car burns down. But if you put the fuel in the engine, you become unstoppable. You become whole. And a man who is whole is infinitely more powerful than a man who is just good. 3. Radical outcome independence. Now we arrive at the single most important psychological switch you need to flip. If you master this one concept, your social anxiety will vanish almost overnight. It is called radical outcome independence. Let's be honest about what kills confidence more than anything else. It isn't a lack of skill. It isn't how you look. It is neediness. Neediness is a repulsive force. You have felt it before. Imagine a salesperson trying to sell you a car. If you can sense that he desperately needs this commission to pay his rent, how does it make you feel? It makes you uncomfortable. You want to get away from him. You feel pressured. His desperation actually lowers the value of the car in your eyes. You think, if this car was good, he wouldn't need to push so hard. Now, imagine a different salesperson. He is calm. He answers your questions. He leans back in his chair. He gives you the impression that he doesn't care if you buy the car or not. He knows the car is great. If you don't buy it, the next guy will. Suddenly, you want the car more. You find yourself trying to impress him. This is the law of detachment. In any interaction, whether it is a business negotiation, a first date, or an argument with a friend, the person who cares less about the outcome holds all the power. Dangerous confidence requires you to sever the emotional link between your actions and the result. Most people go into a situation thinking, I hope they like me, I hope I get the job, or I hope this goes well. This is a weak mindset. It puts your emotional stability in the hands of someone else. You are giving them the remote control to your happiness. If they say yes, you feel high. If they say no, you are crushed. The dangerously confident man goes into the situation with a completely different internal monologue. He thinks, I am going to show up. I am going to be my best self. I am going to speak my truth. And whatever happens, happens. He is detached from the result. He wants the win, but he does not need the win to survive. This is why we call it dangerous. When you are outcome independent, you cannot be manipulated. You cannot be bullied. You cannot be leveraged. If your boss threatens to fire you, but you know you have enough savings and skills to find another job tomorrow, his threat has no power. You can look him in the eye and negotiate fearlessly. But if you need that job, if you are terrified of losing it, you will fold. You will submit. The ultimate superpower of dangerous confidence is the willingness to walk away. In any negotiation, the person who is willing to stand up and walk out the door is the winner. In dating, the person who is willing to walk away from a relationship that isn't working is the one who gets respect. If you signal to the world that you will stay no matter how badly you are treated, you will be treated badly. It is a guarantee. But when people know that you have standards and that you will cut them off if those standards are not met, they treat you like royalty. How do you build this? You build it through an abundance mindset. Neediness comes from scarcity, the belief that this is my only chance. Confidence comes from abundance, the belief that there are plenty of other opportunities. If you are on a date and you think, this is the only girl who will ever talk to me, you will act weird. You will try too hard. You will suffocate her. But if you think, she is great, but there are millions of women in the world, if we don't click, I will be fine. You relax. You become funny. You become charming. Paradoxically, by not caring if you get the girl, you become exactly the kind of man the girl wants. So, here is your practice for this step. Stop auditioning for other people's approval. When you enter a room, stop asking yourself, do they like me? Instead, ask yourself, do I like them? Flip the script. You are the prize. You are the one evaluating the situation. This doesn't mean you should be arrogant or rude. It simply means you are secure. You are happy with yourself before you walk in the room, and you will be happy with yourself after you leave the room, regardless of what happens in between. Once you realize that rejection cannot actually hurt you, that it is just information, not a death sentence, you become free. And a free man is a dangerous man because he acts without fear. He speaks the truth because he isn't afraid of the consequences. He takes risks because he isn't afraid of falling. Detach from the outcome. Master the art of the walkaway and watch how the world starts chasing you. 4. Comfort with tension, the silence. If you want to spot the person with the lowest confidence in the room, don't look at who is being quiet. Look at who is talking the most. There is a natural phenomenon in human psychology that you have definitely felt before. It is the fear of silence. You are in a conversation and suddenly there is a pause. Nobody speaks for 3 seconds. What happens to your body? You feel a spike of anxiety. You feel awkward. Your brain screams, "Say something, anything, fix the silence." So, what do? You start babbling. You make a bad joke. You talk about the weather. You nervously laugh. You rush to fill that empty space because the tension feels unbearable to you. This is a signal of submission. When you rush to fill the silence, you are subconsciously telling the other person, "I am uncomfortable, I am anxious, please accept me." The dangerously confident man does the exact opposite. He doesn't run from the tension. He leans into it. He gets comfortable with the silence. This brings us to a specific technique you need to master: the high-status pause. Most people operate on a stimulus-response loop that is way too fast. Someone asks you a question. "Why should we hire you?" Your instinct is to answer immediately, "Well, I'm very hard-working," and you jump on the answer because you're afraid that if you don't answer instantly, they will think you are stupid. But look at how powerful leaders, mob bosses in movies, or high-level CEOs behave. When you ask them a question, they don't jump. They wait. They look at you. They take a breath. They hold eye contact for 2 or 3 seconds before they open their mouths. In that 3-second silence, a lot of things happen. 1. You show control. It signals that you are not intimidated by the question. You are thinking on your own timeline, not theirs. 2. You build anticipation. The listener leans in. They value your answer more because you made them wait for it. 3. You flip the pressure. When you don't speak immediately, the other person starts to feel the tension. They start wondering, "Did I ask a bad question? What is he thinking?" You have transferred the anxiety from yourself to them. This is why silence is often called the loudest sound in the room. You need to understand that rushing is a tell. In poker, a tell is a physical action that reveals your weak hand. In life, rushing your words is a tell that you are low status. Predators move slowly. Prey moves quickly. A lion doesn't twitch. A mouse does. When you speak fast and fill every silence, you are acting like the mouse. You are twitching. So, here is your challenge. The next time you are in a conversation, whether it is a high-stakes negotiation or just chatting with a friend, practice the art of the pause. When they finish speaking, do not speak immediately. Count to 2 in your head. 1, 2, then speak. At first, this will feel terrifying. Your brain will scream that something is wrong. But watch the other person's face. They won't think you are weird. They will look at you with more respect. They will perceive you as more thoughtful, more grounded, and more confident. Also, use silence when you state your price or your boundaries. If you are asking for a raise, say, "I need a 20% increase." And then, shut up. Do not justify it. Do not say, "I know that sounds like a lot, but I've been working hard." Just say the number and let the silence sit there like a heavy weight on the table. Let them handle the weight. The person who speaks first after a negotiation offer usually loses. The person who is comfortable with the silence usually wins. Stop treating silence like an enemy you need to kill. Treat it like a throne you sit on. The more comfortable you can be in the middle of that awkward tension, the more dangerous your confidence becomes. 5. Stop qualifying yourself. Point number 5 is where we look at the specific words you use and how you use them. This is about killing a habit called qualifying. Qualifying is when you constantly try to explain yourself, justify your actions, or prove your worth to other people. It is the verbal equivalent of a dog rolling over and showing its belly. It says, "Please don't be mad at me. Please understand me. Please like me." Let me give you a clear example. A low-status person doesn't just say, "No, I can't come to dinner tonight." They say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I really would love to come, but I have this work thing, and my boss is being really crazy, and I'm just so tired. I hope you aren't mad. Maybe next time." Do you see the difference? The first version is a decision. The second version is a plea for forgiveness. When you over-explain, you're subconsciously signaling that you believe the other person has authority over you. You act like you're on trial and they are the judge. You're presenting evidence, your excuses, hoping they will find you innocent. The dangerously confident man does not qualify himself to anyone. He understands a very simple rule. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your life choices. If you don't want to go, the answer is no. If you like a certain movie, you don't need to apologize for your taste. If you make a decision at work, you execute it. There is a famous quote often attributed to the British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli and used by many Stoics: "Never complain, never explain." This doesn't mean you should be a robot. It means you should stop seeking permission to exist. There are two specific ways you are likely qualifying yourself right now that you need to stop immediately. First, stop using upspeak. Upspeak is when your voice goes up at the end of a sentence. It makes a statement sound like a question. Instead of saying, "My name is John," downspeak finality. You say, "My name is John." Upspeak, seeking confirmation. When you use upspeak, you are basically saying, "Is this okay? Do you agree?" It destroys your authority instantly. You need to practice speaking with a downward inflection. Finish your sentences like you are slamming a door shut. This is the plan. "I am not interested. Let's go." Second, stop over-apologizing. Some of you say sorry for things that aren't even your fault. You bump into a chair. Sorry. Someone else bumps into you. Sorry. You have a question in a meeting. Sorry to interrupt. Stop it. If you make a legitimate mistake, apologize once, fix it, and move on. But do not use sorry as a filler word. It is a submissive verbal tick. Instead of saying, "Sorry, I'm late," say, "Thank you for your patience." Do you feel the shift? The first focuses on your failure. The second focuses on their virtue. It keeps you in a position of strength. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Human beings are social flock animals. We look for the alpha, or the leader, to tell us what is true. If you act like you are unsure of your own decisions, everyone else will doubt you too. But if you state your opinion as an absolute fact, without explaining or qualifying it, people will naturally assume you are right. This is often called the reality distortion field. When you stop qualifying yourself, you become mysterious. People start wondering, why is he so sure of himself? And that mystery breeds respect. So, the next time someone questions your choice, resist the urge to give them a paragraph of excuses. Why are you leaving the party so early? Don't say, "Well, I have to wake up early and my dog needs to be fed." Just say, "I've got things to do. Good night." Smile. Walk away. Notice how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying the burden of explaining yourself to the world. A king does not explain his decrees. Be the king of your own world. 6. Competence is the only currency. We have talked a lot about mindset, psychology, and body language, but if we stopped there, I would be lying to you. I would be selling you a fantasy. There is a popular phrase in the self-help world: fake it till you make it. I want you to take that phrase and throw it in the trash. You can fake confidence for 10 minutes. You can maybe fake it for an hour. But eventually, reality calls your bluff. If you walk around acting like a lion, but you have the capabilities of a sheep, you aren't confident. You are delusional, and people will expose you. True, dangerous confidence is not a mask. It is a byproduct. It is what happens when you know, with absolute certainty, that you are good at what you do. This brings us to point 6. Competence is the only currency. Think about the most confident person you have ever met. Maybe it was a mechanic who knew exactly what was wrong with your car just by listening to the engine. Maybe it was a surgeon. Maybe it was a veteran soldier. Did they have to shout? Did they have to posture or try to look cool? No. They were quiet. They were relaxed. Why? Because they had competence. Your brain is a survival machine. It is designed to keep you safe. If you are incompetent, if you have no skills, no discipline, and no strength, your brain should make you feel anxious. That anxiety is a warning system. It is telling you, be careful, you are weak, you are going to fail. You cannot trick this system with positive affirmations. You can stand in the mirror and shout, "I am a champion," 1,000 times. But if you have never actually won anything, your brain knows you are lying. The only way to build lasting, dangerous confidence is to give your brain proof. You need to become undeniably good at something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be coding, it could be kickboxing, it could be sales, it could be playing the piano. When you master a difficult skill, 2 magical things happen. 1. The competence-confidence loop. When you struggle with something difficult and overcome it, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You stack a win. The next time you face a challenge, your brain remembers, "Hey, we solved that hard problem last week. We can probably solve this one too." Confidence is simply a reputation you have with yourself. If your reputation is that you quit when things get hard, you will have 0 confidence. If your reputation is that you figure things out, you will have infinite confidence. 2. The halo effect. This is a psychological superpower. When you become a master in one area of life, people automatically assume you are competent in other areas. If you are a black belt in jiu-jitsu, people will respect your opinion on business or politics more than they should. Why? Because they respect the discipline it took to get that black belt. They see you as a high-value man. Competence in one area bleeds over into everything else. If you are dangerously fit, you will walk into a business meeting with more confidence, even though fitness has nothing to do with the meeting. You carry the aura of a winner. So, if you are feeling insecure right now, stop trying to fix your mindset. Go fix your skill set. Stop watching videos on how to be confident and go do something difficult. Go to the gym, read the books, practice the craft, put in the hours. The dangerously confident man walks into a room and knows something that nobody else knows. He knows that he has put in the work that everyone else was too lazy to do. That secret knowledge gives you a smirk. It gives you a swagger. You cannot buy confidence. You cannot fake confidence. You have to rent it, and the rent is due every single day in the form of hard work. Pay the rent. become competent, and the confidence will follow you like a shadow. 7. Physical presence and the gaze. You can have the right mindset, and you can have the skills, but if your body signals that you are weak, nobody will believe you. Human beings are visual creatures. Before you open your mouth to speak, people have already decided if you are a threat or a victim. They decide this based entirely on how you move and how you look at them. Most people have prey body language. They are twitchy. They are constantly moving. Their eyes dart around the room like they are looking for an exit. This signals to everyone else, I am nervous. I am not safe. To become dangerously confident, you must master predator body language. This comes down to two specific things: stillness and the gaze. First, let's talk about stillness. I want you to stop being a bobblehead. You know what I mean. When someone is talking to you, do you constantly nod your head? Do you say, yeah, uh-huh, every 2 seconds? You think you are being polite. You think you are showing them that you are listening. But actually, you are signaling submission. You are unconsciously saying, I agree with you. Please keep liking me. Watch a high-status person, a CEO, a general, or that dangerously confident character in a movie. When they listen, they are completely still. They do not nod. They do not fidget. They just look at you. This stillness is intimidating. It forces the other person to work harder to convince you. Stop fidgeting with your hands. Stop tapping your foot. Stop touching your face. High-status people occupy space, and they do not move unless they want to move. Fast, twitchy movement equals prey. Slow, deliberate movement equals predator. Second, we need to fix your eyes. We call this stiff eye contact. Most people have shifty eyes. When they make eye contact, they get uncomfortable after 1 second and look away. They look down at the floor, then back up, then to the side. This breaks the connection. It shows you are submissive. The dangerously confident man uses his eyes like a weapon. He locks on. I don't mean you should stare at people like a psychopath without blinking. That's creepy. I mean that when you look at someone, you commit to looking at them. Here is a technique you can use today, the one-eye method. Don't try to look at both of their eyes at the same time. Pick one of their eyes, usually the left one, and focus only on that. It makes your gaze piercing. It stops your eyes from darting back and forth. And here is the most important part. When you break eye contact, never look down. Looking down is the universal sign of submission. It means, I yield. If you need to break eye contact, look to the side. Looking to the side suggests you are distracted or thinking. Looking down suggests you are defeated. This type of physical presence is called the gaze. It feels heavy. When you look at someone with this kind of stillness, they feel seen. They feel the weight of your attention. It is uncomfortable at first. You will feel a burning desire to smile or look away to break the tension. Do not do it. Hold the tension. Let them be the one to look away first. When you slow down your movements and steady your eyes, you hack your own brain. You actually start to feel calmer. You are telling your nervous system, we are safe. We are in charge. Walk slow. Talk slow. Look them in the eye. Become the rock in a room full of water. 8. Be polarizing. Stop being a people pleaser. There is a trap that destroys confidence faster than anything else. It is the desire to be liked by everyone. You think that if you are agreeable, if you never offend anyone, and if you fit in everywhere, you will be successful. But the reality is the exact opposite. If you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. You become invisible. Think about the people you admire most in history, or even famous celebrities today. Do everyone like them? No. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Muhammad Ali, Jordan Peterson. These men have millions of people who love them, but they also have millions of people who hate them. You cannot have one without the other. This is the law of polarization. To be dangerously confident, you must be willing to be polarizing. You must be willing to be disliked. Most people are like vanilla ice cream. Vanilla is safe. Nobody hates vanilla. But nobody is passionate about it either. Nobody drives across town at midnight just to get a scoop of plain vanilla. It's just there. You do not want to be the vanilla person. You want to be a specific flavor. You want to be strong. When you express your true values, your true opinions, and your true personality, two things will happen. 1. Some people will be repelled. They will leave. 2. The right people will be magnetically attracted to you. This is a filter mechanism. By being yourself, you filter out the people who don't belong in your life, and you attract the people who do. But the nice guy is terrified of this. He creates a fake persona for every person he meets. With his boss, he is a serious worker. With his friends, he is a joker. With his mother, he is a saint. He changes his shape like water to fit whatever container he is in. The problem is, he has no solid core. People sense this. They feel that he is fake. They can't trust him because they don't know who he really is. Indifference is the enemy. Many people think that hate is the opposite of love. It isn't. The opposite of love is indifference. The worst thing that can happen to you is not that people dislike you. The worst thing is that people ignore you. When people hate you, at least they respect your power. At least you are living in their head. You have gravity. But if you are ignored, you are nothing. So, how do you fix this? You stop nodding your head when you disagree. If you are in a group conversation and someone says something you think is wrong, don't just smile and agree. You don't have to start a fight, but you should not agree. Say, "I see it differently," or simply stay silent. Don't laugh at jokes that aren't funny. Don't say yes to plans you don't want to do. This takes courage. The first time you disagree with the group, your heart will beat fast. You will feel the social pressure. But when you stand your ground, something amazing happens. They don't attack you. They look at you with new respect. They think, wow, this guy has a backbone. He has his own mind. A dangerously confident man would rather be hated for who he is than loved for who he is not. Accept the hate. It is the tax you pay for freedom. If you have 0 haters or 0 people who disagree with you, it means you aren't doing anything important. Be polarizing. Be real. 9. Anti-fragility. Love the failure. There is a huge misunderstanding about confidence. Most people think confidence means knowing everything or never making mistakes. They think that if they admit they are wrong, they will look weak. This is actually the definition of arrogance, not confidence. And there is a big problem with arrogance. It is fragile. Think of a crystal glass. It looks beautiful. It looks hard. It looks perfect. But if you drop it on the floor, what happens? It shatters into a million pieces. This is how most men operate. Their ego is like that crystal glass. They walk around terrified of being wrong. If someone corrects them, or if they make a mistake, their entire self-image shatters. They get defensive. They start arguing. They blame others. They try to hide the truth. Why? Because their confidence depends on being perfect. To be dangerously confident, you must become what Nassim Taleb calls anti-fragile. Anti-fragile is the opposite of fragile. A package that is fragile says, handle with care. A package that is anti-fragile says, please kick me. Why? Because it gets stronger when it is attacked. It gets stronger under pressure. Think of your muscles. When you go to the gym and lift heavy weights, you are actually tearing your muscle fibers. You are stressing them. But what happens? They don't break. They heal back stronger and bigger. You need to treat your ego like a muscle, not like glass. The ultimate power move of the dangerously confident man is this simple phrase, I was wrong. Imagine you are in a meeting or an argument. You state a fact. Someone pulls out their phone and proves that you are wrong. The weak man, fragile, will say, well, that source isn't reliable, or you are missing the point. He scrambles to protect his ego. He looks pathetic. The dangerously confident man, anti-fragile, looks at the phone, pauses, and smiles. He says, you are right. I was completely wrong about that. Thanks for correcting me. Do you see what just happened? 1. You killed the conflict. The other person wanted to fight you, but you agreed with them. You took away their weapon. 2. You showed security. You showed everyone that your ego is not tied to being right. You care more about the truth than you care about looking smart. 3. You became trustworthy. People trust a man who admits his mistakes. They do not trust a man who hides them. When you are willing to look stupid, you become invincible. If you are afraid of looking stupid, the world owns you. You will never take risks. You will never start that business. You will never talk to that girl. You will stay in your safe little box because you are terrified of the fail. But if you adopt the anti-fragile mindset, failure is just data. You try something, it fails. You say, okay, that didn't work. What did I learn? You get stronger. Stop trying to defend an image of perfection. It is exhausting, and everyone knows it is fake anyway. Own your flaws. Own your mistakes. If you trip and fall, don't look around to see who saw you. Stand up and laugh. When you are comfortable with being wrong, nobody can hurt you. You have removed the buttons they use to push to control you. 10. The mission above all. We have arrived at the final step. You can master body language, you can learn to control your shadow, and you can practice silence. But without this last point, none of it matters. If you want to know the real secret of the most dangerously confident men in history, it is this. They are too busy to care what you think. This is point 10, the mission above all. Most people suffer from insecurity because they are drifting. They have no direction. They have no central purpose in their life. Because they are standing still, they have all the time in the world to look around and worry about everyone else. They worry about their clothes. They worry about that awkward thing they said 3 years ago. They worry about whether people like them. Imagine you're driving a car at 100 miles per hour toward a destination you absolutely love. Are you looking out the side window to see if the other drivers are judging your car? No. Your eyes are locked on the road. You're moving too fast to care about the noise. Now, imagine you are sitting in a parked car in a parking lot. Suddenly, you become very aware of everyone walking by. You feel exposed. You feel self-conscious. Motion creates confidence. Purpose creates invincibility. When you are on a mission, whether that mission is to build a business, to get in the best shape of your life, to raise a family, or to master an art form, your social anxiety naturally disappears. Why? Because your brain reprioritizes. The brain has limited energy. If your mission is huge, your brain allocates all its energy to that mission. It has zero energy left to waste on petty drama or social approval. If someone insults you, you don't get angry, you don't crumble, you literally don't have time for it. You look at them, you shrug, and you get back to work. This is the ultimate form of dangerous confidence. It is the confidence of a man who knows exactly where he is going. A man without a mission is a leaf in the wind. He is blown around by every opinion. If society says, wear this, he wears it. If his friends say, do this, he does it. He is weak because he has no anchor. A man with a mission is a ship with an engine. The wind can blow, the storm can rage, but he stays on course. This is why people are attracted to purposeful men. In a chaotic world, everyone is looking for someone who has a plan. When you walk into a room with that focused energy, people naturally want to follow you. They feel safe around you because you look like you know where you are going. So, if you feel insecure, do not just try to act more confident. Ask yourself, what am I living for? If the answer is, I don't know, then that is your problem. Not your eye contact, not your voice. Your lack of purpose is the disease. The insecurity is just the symptom. Find a goal that scares you. Find a goal that demands your total focus. Throw yourself into it. When you are obsessed with your own potential, you will realize something amazing. You stop caring if the world is watching because you are too busy watching your own progress. To become dangerously confident, you must integrate all these things. You must be peaceful, not harmless. You must own your shadow. You must gain competence. You must be willing to walk away. And above all, you must have a mission. The world does not respect the man who asks for permission to exist. The world respects the man who builds his own reality. Stop waiting for confidence to fall from the sky. Confidence is not a feeling. It is a byproduct of how you live. Go out there, be dangerous, be peaceful, and get to work.